kind enough to join us here this morning on the live video stream. Mark Johnson, News Channel 5. Obviously, if you guys have been following social media and everything over the last 24 hours, man, has there been a lot of news out there about storms and a situation that could be developing this afternoon. So I reached out to Mark, and he was kind enough to come join us today and give us a lowdown from an expert, from the real guy that knows what's going on. So, Mark, first of all, thank you for joining us and talking to the Q92 listeners about this for a couple minutes today.
My pleasure, everybody. My pleasure. What a crazy weather week it's going to be. Of course, you got the eclipse coming in on Monday, but before then, you got strong to severe storms tonight. You've got potential for flooding rains again all the way through Wednesday. Then you got a little bit of snow coming our way by the weekend. Plus, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 5-0. I mean, this is like the 5 of the 7 signs of the apocalypse here.
It is amazing to hear you say severe storms and snow in the same.
Yeah.
And again, welcome to Ohio, right?
Welcome to spring in Ohio. Now, I will say this. The severe weather threat has shifted a little bit farther south, but that really only impacts the greater Cleveland area and farther north. The city of Canton, Dover, New Philly, even Akron are all on the edge of the moderate risk. Canton's actually in the moderate risk, right on the line for moderate and enhanced. But suffice it to say, the threat is on the table for everything, every kind of severe weather. Tornado risk is there. We got about a 10% to 15% chance.
Wow.
And now that doesn't sound like a lot out of a 100% chance, but when you get into that 15% range for a tornado, that is, as far as meteorology goes, very, very high. So keep that in mind. Also, a severe wind threat is moderate to high today for Stark County and Point South, and there's even a hail threat for Stark County and mainly Point South. So the timing of this looks to be about 7 to 9 p.m.-ish. It's moved up just a little bit. It's still within my range of 7 to 11, but right now it looks like 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. is when the strongest storms are going to hit.
Do you think there's a flooding risk as well for some areas around here?
Yeah, we've already seen some flooding to the west of us. Holmes County under a flood warning right now. We've got other counties that have had some flooding issues. Tuscarawas County is going to have some. So we're going to be doggone close. And when you get any type of strong to severe storm coming in, it could drop an inch of rain on you like that. So at least there's a flash flooding threat as well. So you got all 4 on the board, folks. Just pay attention, stay connected. I'll be on Facebook. If Q92 wants some coverage, we'll be able to provide that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be sharing some of your updates, Mark. And if you want to follow Mark directly, you can also do that on Facebook at Mark J. Weather. That is your new page, right?
Yeah, I got a new expanded page that allows me to reach more folks. So we'll be doing a lot more on that. And, we'll be telling everybody where to go when the time comes, because of course I feel like we'll be on Facebook Live for part of the evening, maybe even some live coverage on our TV station as well, kind of simulcast.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question. I had heard with this that we can expect, obviously, the wind. The wind is a threat that almost everybody could see, correct? Whether or not there's tornadoes or anything like that. They had mentioned specifically straight line winds. Can you tell people what that is? Because I've always been kind of confused as to what it is, but I know it can cause damage.
Well, straight line winds can be just as strong as a tornado, on the lower end tornado scale. But you can have 70, 80, 90, 100 mile an hour straight line winds. They're not the twisting tornadic winds, which are concentrated in a smaller area. You can have a widespread, like squall line of straight line winds that are just all blowing in the same direction. And they can produce, tree damage, power line damage, property damage, things like that. So straight line winds all go in the same direction. They're all pointed the same way. It's like a wall of high winds that just blow through everything. Tornadic winds are, of course, that funnel cloud that touches down over a quarter mile, half mile wide area and then just churns up everything. But straight line winds can be just as damaging.
Gotcha. So definitely the message of the day is keep yourself alert and informed. You can do that with Mark Johnson. Tune in to Channel 5 for any, obviously, coverage on TV. Follow his Facebook page because you are excellent about providing updates and tie all your things down. Maybe put the basketball hoop already like lay it back into the grass if you have a portable. Bring the basketball hoop down, take those trash cans in.
Unless you want to go get your trampoline out of the neighbor's yard.
Oh, ours got bent last storm.
Tie your trampoline down, tie your kids down. Better yet, bring them in the house. Pets too.
Yeah.
But we're not often in a moderate risk. I always say this: when we get put in a moderate risk, it gets your attention. But the risk itself, it tells me something. But I tell you what, we've had some of our worst severe weather outbreaks in much smaller risks, like marginal risks and slight risks. So, to me, the risk is, it causes me to pay very, very close attention to specific areas where the risk is highest. But suffice it to say, to you, it doesn't really matter. Slight risks can bring us the worst weather, just like a moderate risk. But in this case, we're in a moderate risk. So again, we all pay attention, and just between 7 and 9 or 10, just make sure the kids are all right, and text your friends and family, let them know what's coming.
You know what I always do, just to ask a weather question. Like, I always thought, like, as the days get into the night, and the sun goes down, because a lot of times that's what feeds energy to these storms. But in this case, it looks like that's not really gonna. Is there a chance that's gonna take down the energy of these storms, or they got too much already?
Well, always, when the sun goes down, you lose the sunlight energy, which causes convection, rising air. But in this case, the dynamics of the low pressure and the frontal boundaries themselves are enough to produce the spin and the wind damage and the heavy rain and the hail without the super need for a lot of sunshine to bake the air like you would in midsummer. You oftentimes in midsummer get hot weather, muggy weather, you get explosive thunderstorm growth, and then when the sun goes down, you lose that energy and the storms fade. But in this case, the system itself has enough energy to produce the severe weather without the sun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we appreciate you giving us that update. We have to ask about another update too, because I think it's on everybody's minds. As I was watching the forecast last night, we also touched on the forecast for the solar eclipse. Yes. What do we know? We understand we are still 6 days out.
Yeah, 6 days out, a lot of time. And again, I've got some eyes on computer guidance products. And right now there's about 3 of them that are seeing this thing. And when you put them all together, you get some cloud cover on April 8th. It looks like we're going to be dry, which is good news. It looks like we're going to be warm with temps in the 60s. And Canton is right on the edge of totality. You've got about 99.5% totality, which isn't quite total darkness, but twilight. And right now, the blend of the 3 computer guidance products suggest that we have about a 65% cloud coverage for that afternoon. Now it's more than you want, but that means there's still a chance. That means there's still a good shot that we'll have some views of the eclipse. And of course, 6 days out, the certainty isn't even 50% yet. Mm-hmm. So that also is positive news that things could change. But, consistency with what we're seeing over the past several days does suggest some cloud cover. It suggests dryness, and it suggests that we'll be in the 60s for highs.
I know you had mentioned on one of your reels that if we had this partial cloud cover, that we could all still be treated to kind of like as we're heading into totality and coming out of it, these beautiful colors in the sky. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, high thin cirrus clouds would be really, really cool. You'd still see the eclipse through the cirrus clouds, but also those clouds, as you mentioned, would kind of be colored like a sunset. As we go in toward totality and come out of it, you get the illuminated clouds around the eclipse with, oranges, reds, and yellows. So that is kind of a bonus if it's high, thin cirrus clouds. Gotcha. Now, if it's lower clouds, you get less and less color. And of course, the worst case scenario would be like today. You have a thick lower cloud deck where you're not going to see any of the sun. It's just going to get dark. It's just going to get, dark in about a minute and a half. And then you're going to go, oh, it must be the eclipse, and the birds will stop singing, and 4 minutes later it'll start to get light again.
Yeah.
There's an update. Mark, can't thank you enough. I don't know if you'll be able to join us Monday during the show, or if you'll be busy doing new stuff.
Well, my call is at 8 a.m. in Mentor, so I've got to be on the spot at 8 a.m. But it doesn't mean I'm going to have a ton to do, during the 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. hours. So I think I'll be able to join you that morning, and we'll be able to chat.
That's
okay.
fantastic. Mark, thank you so much. On a day like this where we have some possible severe weather, we appreciate you coming on and giving our local listeners an idea of what to expect. And please follow this man on social media.
Absolutely. Mark J. Weather on Facebook.
He'll be going
Thank you very much. And the Pirates are 5-0. I mean, there's something going on.
Something is going on. Mark, thank you so much,
Thanks,
buddy.
Mark.
All right, Mark Johnson, News Channel 5. There's your update on the eclipse and the storms today. 7 to 10, he says.
Yeah.